All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dave Oneegs podcast. And we have some very, very special guests tonight. But before I welcome them all, I'm just going to welcome some of the people who have tuned in here on the chat. Some of our regulars, I can see Andrea Evans, or Andrew's one of our guests. Too funny. Duncan and Catherine, thank you for tuning in. We have Heather Braithwaite, Hugh Dixon, Jackie, thanks for tuning in. Judy Moore, Kuka Tonya, whoever that is, thanks for being here. There's Jackie and another Liz Nixon. Thanks, Liz. Lou Brown, Melanie Reeves. Melanie Reeves is always here. Great to hear from you. Great to see you, Melanie. Me, Norman, Pollock's iPad, Warboat, Wayno, Emily. There's a whole bunch of people tuning in tonight. Maria's phone, Megan, Philippa Hovarth, Sacred Sound Reading, Sarah. There's a bunch of people tuning in. Thank you for all being here, everyone's really important call tonight and some very special guests. We have Andrea and James Evans. Welcome to the call, folks. How are you guys?
Good, thank you.
Good, thanks,
How about
Dave?
yourself?
Yeah, I'm going well, and I really want to thank you guys for putting the time aside to be here. James, your videos have gone viral, mate. You are doing such a good job, and on behalf of everyone, we just want to thank you for sticking your neck out there and getting this important information out there. And Andrea, we want to thank you for doing such a good job as a mum, raising such a fine young man who's got the courage to speak up on behalf of this incredibly important issue. But if I can start with yourself, Andrea, how did you guys get started in this industry? When did it all start for you as far as, I guess, the beekeeper industry?
The beekeeping started probably about 5 years ago. And then we built a food forest starting in May of 2019. So we've got a 25-acre food forest. And hence, the bees come with that because we're trying to grow a whole bunch of fruit trees and large gardens. So yeah, we need the bees to pollinate. The honey's a side product, that's a bonus, but the bees are here just to mainly look at the pollination of all our foods.
And can you tell us a little bit, like, I'm just going to be really open and honest with you. I know nothing about bees other than that they make honey and they're important for pollination. But, I'm starting to see a lot of people put in other comments saying, no bees, no food.
Yep.
Right. That's pretty much it. No bees, no food. I'm like, tell us, and feel free to both chime in and bounce off each other, but tell us a little bit more how the average person like myself who knows very, very little, what does that actually mean? No bees, no food.
Well, as when you look in the mid-north coast where they've started this, we're some of the biggest growers in Australia, and 90% of Australian food is produced in Australia. So when you strip away the pollinators that are pollinating your grains, your vegetables, your fruits, or your imported vegetables that native bees can't even pollinate, we can't produce our own fruit and vegetables. We're going to starve. Even the animals are going to starve, and your pets, because we won't have the ability to feed them.
It is such a big deal. Like, when you put it that bluntly, like, it's pretty much an attack on the food supply. Can you, obviously, James, you seem profoundly knowledgeable on the topic for such a young man. You're only 19 years of age, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Can you help us understand a little bit more what the actual pollination process is? Could you break that down in simplistic terms for us?
Yeah, easy. So basically, with the pollination, you do have different pollinators when it comes to the process. So you have your native pollinators, which will pollinate your native trees a lot better and get into smaller flowers that European bees can't get into. Then you have other flowers that are self-pollinating, and you have other European bees, which come a lot, all the European bees, which you need for your almond farms, your orchards and that. And they will basically land on the flower and collect the pollen on their legs and land onto another one. And this repeats, so you can create that, fruit. For the fruit, yeah.
For the fruit, so that they actually produce their fruit and whatever that they're actually, okay. What I wanted to know is when all this started for you guys, as far as the Department of Primary Industries coming and I guess telling you that you're on notice and that there has to be something done about this potential threat. What's the story that they're running? Because we've seen a lot of stories run, you know, obviously we saw this whole story run. There was a boogeyman and the whole world had to go and get injected with this experimental potion. They're obviously running a narrative to take out your bees. That's what it would seem like from the exterior. What's the narrative that they're running for you guys?
Well, when you talk about that, like they're sort of stripping people's rights away as well when it comes to this. You know, they gave us 30 minutes notice to comply with their orders. They would be there in 30 minutes to wipe out these hives. If you don't comply, you're fined with $1.1 million each, and then the company is hit with millions in fines. And as soon as they arrive, they actually hand you the act at the gate they want to film you receiving the act. So you're signing into a contract with them. We did not accept it, but
yeah, we might want to start back at the Verroa mite and when it was.
Oh, yeah. So
this Verroa mite came in. Apparently a Verroa mite was detected at the port of Newcastle back in June of 2022.
A Verroa mite, is it?
Yes,
yeah.
It's like a flea.
Right. And what is the threat, the alleged threat of the Verroa mite?
So the Verroa mite are like a little flea, and they basically attach themselves to the bee and the larvae, and they draw off their blood. And that's where the threat is that they can collapse a hive in about 2 years and infest it. But when you look into it, it's nothing compared to some other animals other insects we have here, like the hive beetle. They can collapse a hive in a week. So the government is really overstepping for something that every country lives with in the world and that we should be able to control.
It sounds almost a little bit like saying that the flu is suddenly deadly and forcing the whole world to take an experimental potion. But hey, I'm just a conspiracy theorist. but so seriously, so it sounds like the flea isn't anywhere near as bad as they're making it out to be. But they're basically justifying the destruction of your hives to try and stop the spread of this.
Not just our hives, but everyone's hives around here. If there's one hive that is found with a Verroa mite in it, there is a destruction zone placed, a red zone placed in a 10-kilometer radius around that, where all hives do not have a chance. They don't care if they test negative. They will come in and they will destroy your hive.
Mind-boggling. And so just give us a bit of a sense of, you know, when they came, what it was like when they came to your property. They've come filming you.
Yeah.
Right.
They wanted to wanted to pull a camera out and film us receiving the act.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the sort of attitude that you got? Were they, you know, I guess remotely friendly? Were they quite hostile? Were they willing to negotiate? What was the tone of the engagement?
They were definitely on the friendlier side, and there's no negotiation when it comes to people like these people, because all it takes is you to trigger one of them or send them, you know, get them a bit upset for them to pack up and head off, and you get slapped with a fine. So you want to really just stand back. But we didn't have we weren't received with any rudeness from them or anything like that. And
that fine, did you say is it over $1 million?
Yes, 1.1 or 1.2.
It was 1.1 per person that's on the order. So my husband was on the order, the business was on the order, and then there was another entity. So it ended up being at like $3.3 million per entity that's literally on the order.
That's absurd. That's incredible. And so I'm just wondering how enforceable, like, since when I don't even know much about the Department of Primary Industries. We don't hear much about them. We hear about the TGA, you know, we hear about other different, I guess, organizations. We don't hear as much about the DPI. How is that actually enforced? Have you looked much into the legality of what they're actually trying to do?
Yeah, and when it comes to looking into it, it's really just a whole bunch of loopholes, and they refer you to different parts of the acts and all that. But when you look into the actual Verroa mite response permit, you know, they tell you they have to follow this, and this, and this. But when it comes to it, it all refers back to the Biosecurity Emergency Act, and they can therefore bypass a lot of a lot of things which we would.
The Biosecurity Act pretty much supersedes everything. Like over the police, the government, the whole lot. It's at the top of the list. Hence why some people have had the police come along to have their bees destroyed.
Absolutely extraordinary. And so how stressful has this been for you and your family over the last few months? What's it been like?
For the last month, it has been
Go back a couple of months,
Oh,
because we've been on tender hooks for quite a while. We
rushing around, sort of trying to get everything. Well, we had to, because we thought, they're moving the red zones everywhere, doing unexpected things, and as soon as they put you in a red zone, you're not allowed to touch your hives. And we had honey on the top of the hives, so we definitely wanted to harvest that. And they also were looking at doing our testing.
Yeah, so we've been sitting in this very thin strip of purple, which was the surveillance zone, and we had two big red circles on either side of us. So we thought we were pretty safe, but we were always on tender hooks. And yeah, we did our own test when they said they were going to come out and do a test. So prior to that, there'll be a video on YouTube that shows where I've gone through and tested them. And then, yeah, they were supposed to come out. So yeah, it's been a bit stressful prior, because we've just been hoping that this would all be under control and we wouldn't end up in the red zone.
By the way, for everyone who's tuned in, please feel free to ask any questions and we'll definitely get them asked on your behalf. And this mite, or this, what was it called? So the Verroa mite?
Yeah.
Have you actually got the Verroa mite in your hives?
Oh, no, we tested negative. So the government requires an ethanol wash to be performed on your hives, or alcohol wash, which is the same thing. But they basically, you have to get 300 bees and wash them in ethanol or alcohol. And this, in the process, sadly kills the bees. This is government required. And it also dislodges the Verroa mite from the bee, and that's how you test it. But even in the new act they've got like written up, it says you can use sugar wash, but they still require, which is a harmless way of doing it, using powdered sugar, and it dislodges the mite and doesn't kill the bees in the process. But even with them saying this works, they're still not accepting this method. And
this is the extraordinary thing. We have this government that seems just so happy to do everything in the most callous and cruel way. And definitely, when there is a way to do it humanely, they just don't want to do it. Like, just changing the subject slightly, I'm sure you guys have heard of Vicky Dadarian, the lady who needs a heart transplant down in Victoria. Okay. Now, she's been told that she was eligible for a heart transplant, but first of all, she had to have one COVID injection. Then they said, oh, sorry, actually, you need to have 2 COVID injections. She said, show me the data it's safe, because if I get a new heart, where's the data that this is going to be safe for a transplant? Sorry, we don't have the data. Then they turned around and said, actually, you know what? You've got to have 3 injections to have this heart transplant. And then I went and interviewed her the other day, right? She rang me 48 hours later. She said, Dave, the hospital rang me. They said, sorry, I'm no longer eligible for any heart whatsoever.
Oh, wow. That's so
and
sad.
They're basically a death sentence for her when they could. And this is it's exactly the same attitude that we're dealing with here. There's just no conscience, no common sense, no empathy, no compassion. It's just cruel and callous. And bees are incredibly beautiful creatures. It must be heartbreaking for you both to see what's going on.
It's, it's not just the killing of the European bees, it's the fact that they're starting to poison as well. It's something I'm really passionate about trying to stop and trying to bring awareness of, because people don't know there is 500 bait stations out in the red zones in New South Wales at the moment, poisoning really a lot of the wildlife.
So I want to get into the bait stations in a second, but you mentioned European bees. Yep. And then can you just explain the difference between the European bees and the native bees, and what's going on as far as different species or varieties of bees, James?
So the only bee affected by the Verroa mite is the European bee, which is your classic honeybee, or the yellow and black bees that you're used to seeing. Yeah. And then you've got your native varieties, which aren't affected by the Verroa mite. And we have about 160 different varieties, including the little sugar bag bees, white banded bees, blue banded bees, and your carpenters.
Right. And so all of those native bees
Yeah.
They're not affected by the Verroa mite,
No,
but the native bees are being taken out anyway.
exactly.
Well, the native,
So,
they're not technically being taken out. They're going to be,
secondhand poison.
Secondhand poison.
What's going to happen is they're placing these baiting stations. Originally, they were times 3 kilometers, but by the looks of it, it's 2.5 kilometers north, east, south, and west of each other. They're using a sugar water spiked with fipronil insecticide, and they're putting this liquid in a 7.5 liters container with a yoga mat on top, 10 millimeters thick. And they're saying that since this yoga mat's on top, it's long enough where only the European bees can reach down and drink this sugar water. And it's going to save the natives. But that's not the main problem when it comes to this. It's
Wait a second. I'm just getting this picture of the DPI rocking up with a yoga mat and a bunch of poison, telling us it's all about science. Here to say,
well, we asked for the materials. We asked for the materials safety data sheet, all the
risk analysis.
the risk analysis, and all of this stuff.
Doesn't exist.
They won't give
no,
you the
they
risk
won't.
analysis. No way. Not at all. And
So what happens after
so
that?
basically, yeah.
Sorry, just to jump in 1 second. Can you just give us a little bit on, is it fipronil?
Yep, fipronil.
Yeah, what is fipronil?
Fipronil is an insecticide that is banned in Europe and the UK and should be banned everywhere else. It is known to kill bees and has been used in Queensland before and wiped out the whole entire green carpenter bee population out there, the native one.
By accident.
By accident.
Gosh, and so they're putting now, did you say 500 baiting stations with this stuff?
Upwards of 800 they've got ready. So yeah.
Sorry, Jane. Yeah, keep going. Tell us more.
Yeah, so these European bees basically take this fipronil, they back to their hive where they lace the honey and the wax, and it then infects the rest of the hive. So these feral hives out in the bush, any hives that weren't killed in the process of the DPI coming in and destroying them, and that will come and rob these and then bring it back to their hives, where that hive will die off and native bees will then come in, and you'll have native bees, animals, insects, mammals, reptiles, anything that's going to be interested by the honey. And they're going to come in and eat it and also continue this poisoning cycle, presumably out of the red zones, like as a ripple effect, because it's not going to stop. This poison sits in the hives for upwards of up to 3 years, 2 to 3 years. So
some people have said 2 to 3 years. DPI have told us 6 months.
Yeah,
but we haven't got any.
No confirmation, but it looks
paperwork.
like right now, 2 to 3 years is that where the chemicals sitting at, and they will not tell us anything else. They won't give us information on this or the safety methods.
This is mind blowing. They could actually collapse the biosphere in New South Wales and even beyond, because how far can these insects and so on and bees carry the actual toxin?
And is it going to these animals when they die? Are they going to decompose this chemical into the ground? Is it going to leach into the waterways from there?
There's no long-term study on this.
Well, I don't think there needs to be, because it's obvious they want to cause massive destruction. It's not about preserving anything whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just staggering what is going on. Oh my! I'm actually stumped. Like, once you put it like that they're putting upwards of 800 of these, but what do you call them? Baiting traps.
Yeah.
In that key region, which is all some of the most beautiful agricultural land in the country.
Most self-sufficient people along this coastline, and because it's such a beautiful and humid area, it thrives, and there's flowers all year round, so the bees can also produce here all year round compared to out west.
It's the most densest area in New South Wales as well.
It's the
most densely populated area in
Of
New South
course.
Wales.
Oh, it's just mind blowing, because you guys are down in the sort of Taree region, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep, just south.
Just south of Taree. And how much is the local community awake? Because I know one of the biggest challenges we all face, I've been at this for a while, trying to wake up the people in my community, in my family. I've been, thrown under the bus by friends, by the mainstream media. I go to check. I've got a lot of cousins, right? I go to check in on my cousins on Facebook. Oh, they've unfriended me.
Yeah.
I get this stuff all the time because people don't want to wake up.
Yeah,
And what's your experience been like? Is your community catching on, or are they just like, oh no, they're doing the right thing, trust the government?
a fair bit of the community is starting to catch on. We've seen some yellow banners out, yellow, gold, or orange banners. As you've seen, we've been getting those out and sharing the word so people know about the bees, so we can see some support in that. I've also been talking to a lot of people around the area and seeing if they already know, educating them if they don't. And yeah, it's been pretty good. You do run into some of the people, like yesterday I ran into someone and they're selling honey, but they support the killing of the bees. And it really gets to me. So you're sitting there selling honey that your bees were just killed a month ago and you're not here, a bit outraged at this.
It's the cognitive dissonance. And I think one of the hardest things that we face, whether it be, waking up people to the killing of the bees, or the weather engineering, or the mRNA injections, or any multiple agendas that are going on. We've lived in a country that for such a long time, it was so good that we could naturally trust the establishment. You could trust your GP. We never had bad interactions with the police. If the TGA approved something, we were sure it was safe, all these sorts of things. So we've been lulled into this sense of complacency. And I think that's why a lot of this stuff is being rolled out in Australia, because they know that there's no bad times in living memory. And so people are asleep and they're so complacent. Oh no, it should be right, mate. Good old government's got it. But if we don't get this addressed, hard times are coming. And there's two things. If you want to take absolute control, actually three things. You want to take absolute control over people. You take control of the weather, which we're seeing. You take control of the food supply, this is obviously what that is. And then you take control of the money supply.
Yep.
And this is moving us into total enslavement. And obviously, we saw good old Kill Bill Gates out here not long ago, having a meeting with Anthony Albanese. We know Bill Gates is one of the largest owners of land now in the United States, if not the largest owner. And they've got all these modified foods that they want to bring out, and they don't want us being self-sufficient. They don't want communities thriving whatsoever. And this is one of the really key ways that we fight back, is that we can be self-sufficient, we can grow our own food, and we can remain autonomous from this monstrosity that's been built all around us. What can we do to help you guys get the word out there? And have you guys been putting any pressure on the Department of Primary Industries, and what's the response been like?
We've always been putting pressure on the Department of Primary Industries for the last couple of weeks, from going out there to trying to do live streams and going to the meeting and writing emails to them. Especially my dad, he definitely needs a good, thanks for like the hand, and he really needs to be brought out to the light, because he has a crazy story to tell when it comes to the DPI. Because they're abusing power in multiple ways.
They're bullies.
They're bullies, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know all about that. I've still got this situation, when, we tried to help the community down there in Lismore during the floods. And a lot of people would, the evidence would suggest that flood wasn't exactly natural. Let's put it that way. And there was a bit of a land grab going on. And I was going down there documenting a lot of the things. We put rescue teams together and did a lot of flood relief. And then all of a sudden, my bank accounts were mysteriously frozen on a Friday night. And that's been for over a year now. I've still got this thing going on. And so there's huge abuses of power going on all around this country. But there's also a lot of silence, and that's why, I really wanted to get you guys on, because you've had the courage to speak up, and especially yourself, James, being, 19 years of age. We don't see many young people speaking up. So, on behalf of everyone, we want to thank you, for really sticking your neck out there. And, I'm just wondering how much trolling, I'm probably the most trolled person in the country, or at least I'm right up there. How much trolling have you guys been getting? How much noise?
It's a fair bit of, I reckon we get probably, I don't know,
1%. It's not
yeah.
that, it's actually not that bad. We're quite surprised. that there are a couple of beekeepers that are coming in and are having a bit of a go at us, but going on about, oh well, you just want to spread Verroa mite everywhere, and we say, well no, we actually were all against the eradication.
No, we're for at the start,
the eradication
they had it.
at the beginning. We wanted the control, and we were hoping that it would never come to the point where we would have to get our bees killed. But after 10 months, it's happened. So, after 10 months, if you can't control it,
and it's not just that. When when they push that situation onto you, really get a look into it and realize how corrupt it is, and that was the Verroa mite even here? Where was the Verroa mite properly tested? Because they've not put the proper sites down. They've got different Mayfield sites and this and that, and by the suggestion, it looks like the Verroa mite was at least 6 months before they've said it was found. So that means it should have had a lot more chances to spread around everywhere. It wouldn't have gone in a formation like it's coming out now. And on top of that, it's blanket killing. If they said they've been able to trace every single one of them back, but still they can't trace the origin of the mite or what country it comes from.
It's so obvious what's going on here. It's no different to when they say, oh, one chicken has the new bird flu and we're going to cull 1 million chickens, and next minute there's no eggs, there's no chooks. It's just what they do, and I think a lot of us have seen this coming, because let's face it, I think the last round of injections with this mRNA baloney, I think the uptake of the 5th shot was less than 4%. They couldn't give these things away. And we've known now that because humans don't want to participate in what they're playing with, they're going to go for the animals. And I didn't see it coming for the bees. I thought they were going to go for another avian flu or another mad cow disease or another whatever, another swine flu. Next thing, Porky Pig gets a cold and they go and kill, half the pigs. Like, seriously, this is what it's psychotic.
But now they're going to target your meat as well, because they've targeted the bees. With no bees, we have no life, we have no food, we can't survive without these animals.
The issue here is that your food supply, like your vegetables and your grocery bill, has gone through the roof. Everyone can see it, along with the power, the prices have gone up. So a lot of people have decided to start their own vegetable gardens and grow some of their vegetables themselves, especially when your lettuce down here was $12 a head a couple of months ago. Yeah. So
don't worry, Bill Gates is bringing us a lab-grown lettuce. Everything's going to be okay.
Probably. So everyone's trying to grow vegetables, and all of a sudden now we run into somebody today who says, "Oh, my pumpkins are going really well. My hand pollination's doing a great job." It's like, you shouldn't have to hand pollinate your pumpkins. They're in the red zone, obviously, but no one in the red zone is going to be able to grow any food. Now, all our neighbours are growing vegetable gardens. Now, not only is our, growth of food limited, it's everyone else's around us, because we don't have the bees here. So, yeah, the prices are through the roof, and you're not going to be able to grow your own food either.
What's interesting as well is that all of this has coincided with this release of information that they're actually now able to mRNA integrate fruit and vegetables. Have you seen that?
I don't want to know.
Well, you look into all this artificial fruit and that, and the European bees actually hate them, because they're just repelled by them, all GMO foods. So you look at Bill Gates with from bee vaccines and the artificial bees he's now making. It starts really putting into play, some it could be something. But when he was here last month,
a couple of months ago
as well, right before this whole situation.
Well, it's been going for 10 months.
So, sort of right when it's really ramping up, but there. Yeah.
We're just in a battle, we're in such a battle, and sometimes it gets pretty scary as well when you look at what's on the horizon. If this goes ahead, you're talking about potentially mass starvation or complete control, because if people don't have food, people get desperate.
Crickets.
Say that again.
They want you to eat crickets. They're already putting them in the canteens, and they're making them into chips for the kids. So
they've already put them in Tim Tams.
Yeah, you know,
Bugs are on the menu.
this is what they want. This is the eating bugs, because we can't have our own meat and we can't have our own fruit or vegetables.
You know, like the whole agenda, and I'm sure you guys are seeing this, but the whole agenda goes so deep. It's very much a spiritual war. And when you look at what these people are actually trying to do, they're trying to usurp the power of the creator. They're actually trying to play God, because God, or the creator, whatever you want to call it, has set up the natural order of things. And it's a divinely, perfectly majestic system of things like the bees and the sun and the climate and the water, and everything works in this beautiful symbiosis.
It runs off Fibonacci.
Right? It's sacred. It's just,
There you had it on me as well.
there
Fibonacci.
you go. You're ahead of your time, mate. You were born for these times, James. You get it, right?
Yeah,
And that's what these people are trying to do. They're trying to completely usurp the power of God. They want to take control of everyone and everything.
Create their own code.
They really do. And you know, this is why this is very much not just a battle against the people and the powers that be. It's very much a battle of good versus evil.
Yeah.
And we know we're on the right side of history. And I think you guys are doing incredible work. I'd love to know more about how can we find you guys, and I'd love to know what's the best things, because I'm thinking we make you guys a t-shirt, save the bees, stop the DPI, something like that, and give the profits to you guys. We're happy to do something like that, put a design together for you, get the word out there. But what else can we do to support and help get the word out to more people?
Well, the best method right now is to go and see Vast Harvest Permaculture. So we're on TikTok, Instagram, all that, so you can see more info on what's going on and keep up with it. But also we're going to get we've got banners that we've been putting out. People have been hanging yellow, gold, or orange banners out. We've saved the bees, or no food, no bees written on them. You don't have to have it written on it. We're just hanging ribbons. Just ribbons. We've been hanging them up mail on our mailboxes, cars, basically everywhere we can. Fences, trees,
you name it. We want to see them everywhere. So we've had quite a lot of people take it up and are putting yellow ribbons up, all yellow, orange, or gold ribbons up all over the place, tagging us so we can share it and let everyone see it as well.
Beautiful.
So what we're doing to start with.
And what about the Department of Primary Industries? Where are they actually based as far as their nearest office to you guys?
Tokyo and Patterson.
Right.
Agricultural College it is,
Right. And I'm just wondering, is there someone there that we can lobby, that we could send emails to, that we can I just wonder, I might look into that a little bit further as well, because I think, you know, these people at the end of the day, they're people, you know, and I know they've got to do their jobs, but at some point they must realize they're destroying their children's and their grandchildren's futures. That's the thing I could never understand.
They're doing their job to put food on the table, but what food are you going to be putting on the table? And, you know, next year you're going to be feeding your kids crickets.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
It doesn't matter what job you're doing. If it's not going to benefit humanity, just destroy it.
I think a lot of people also see the other side of the coin here, where nobody wants Verroa mite out, and nobody does. Like, you know, obviously no one wants to have to treat their hives for Verroa mite, but after 10 months and 24,000 hives have been killed or destroyed so far, how much longer will this keep going? I know that nobody wants the Verroa mite, but it's time.
So sorry, Andrea, could you please repeat that? How many hives have been destroyed already?
24,000.
I said it'd be more by now.
What the hell? In New South Wales alone?
And New South Wales has 49% of all the bees in Australia located here. So this is why they're probably targeting this area, if it was targeted. But
that is actually like enough to make me cry.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Freaking devastating.
When people say, oh, New South Wales, where the red zone is, it's only just a small portion of this big Australia. Well, most of the population is in that New South Wales area or the East Coast. So you can look at this big Australia map, but this is where, you know, your population is, and this is where all the bees are, and 24,000 hives.
Oh, they know exactly what they're doing. They're going right to the core population of the bees.
Yeah, you think they would be able to, yeah, exactly. And if you think if this was all about tracing the mite and actually destroying it, they would be doing a job where they could, test these hives and get the results because they've been able to track them all. So why are they just blanket killing? Because this is just going to,
I do want to say that there is some industries that get a free pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have been told that there are bees going into the red zone in Coffs Harbour to pollinate the blueberries up there. And
Right.
we thought that they were going to destroy those.
Well, originally we were
afterwards.
told that they were going to be destroyed, and because they're moving these healthy hives into the red zone. But now with what's going on, it's going to be they get a free pass, so they won't be destroyed. But at the same time, you don't know how they stay because a lot of these farms are sprayed with pesticides and these beehives have to be removed anyway. And then you look into the almond orchards, like the organic farms and the almond industry, and there's commercial growers that are organic certified, and they're allowed their 80,000 beehives on their property. And if one tests positive with Verroa mite, they eliminate that one beehive and leave the rest. But if one tests positive around here, what they do is just wipe them all out. So
what's going on there?
So
well,
the
they're
commercial,
buddies.
the commercial industry have pretty much a free pass. So when we did the DPI the other day, because they said, the blueberry industries are going to get compensation for the lack of pollination on their blueberries. And I said, well, what about our compensation for the lack of pollination for our place? Because we can't have bees for 3 years here.
Oh yeah, so if you're basically a big corporate food producer,
commercial, yep,
yeah, no problemo. Just keep doing your thing. But if you're self-sufficient little guy out there, oh my gosh, it's just so obvious what the play is here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they've just opened up the borders to Queensland and Victoria, so the commercial beekeepers can now move their bees in between the borders of Victoria and Queensland with a permit.
And obviously, there's obviously no testing for Verroa mite then in that case.
They have to test them before they move them, and then they have to submit that test.
We're looking into they've just released a new update like permit thing, because it's the last one's about to run out next month, and into it has a fair bit of errors. But one of the things which caught my eye was that it seems like you might only need to test 26 hives. Don't quote me on this. It says because how it has is very structured. If it's under if you have under 26 hives, you only have to test up to the amount of hives you have with the ethanol wash. If you have over 26 or alcohol wash, ethanol is the same thing. When you test over 26 hives,
so
if
you have 1,000,
if you have 1,000 hives, you only have to up to 26.
Yep. And then once you're cleared, you can move the DPI will give you permission to move your hives over the border to wherever you want.
But it's a bit of a mess up. Like if you look at the permit, some of the dates are written completely wrong, and it's the
updated Biosecurity Act. It's been updated, and apparently there's a couple of mistakes in there that don't make quite enough sense.
Which probably doesn't.
It's not meant to make sense. None of it's meant to make sense. And what on your own property, how many hives did you have?
We had 18.
And they're all gone?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
So we do have native bees as well. We have 2 of the little sugar bag native bee hives as well. So we're hoping that they're not going to be baiting in this area, because we do not want them.
They're going to blanket bait, and that's what they're saying. And the problem is these native bees, they only go 500 meters to a K away from their hive. So A, they're not going to pollinate most of the things anyway, but B, they're still going to be able to get access to a lot of these feral hives that are around the area. And all it takes is that, one bee to take it back.
It takes back the what's it called? The fipronil.
The tainted honey, the poisoned honey from a feral hive.
And then that destroys the hive they go back to.
Yeah.
It's it.
Oh my gosh, what debacle this is.
It's a mess.
It's a massive story.
so,
Especially when you've got other bees like your blue banded and your white band, they don't have homes, they just move around. So, you know, they just go up to these hives and they're going to die. These are very, very rare species that we have around here. And I've personally seen them and taken photos of the carpenters and that all through the property. And it's absolutely amazing to see such crazy wildlife around here, and they're going to strip that all away.
Oh, it's absolutely criminal.
It is.
You know, I saw something about bees the other day. Like you've really put this on the map, James. You should be incredibly proud of yourself, both of you. But you know, especially yourself, James, you really put your face out there, and you've got a lot of people's attention about this issue. And then I saw something come up on another Telegram channel, and it was a gentleman, I think it was a scientist actually, or a botanist. He was talking about how bees and beekeepers have some of the longest lifespans.
Yeah.
Because they apparently give off this incredible vibratory frequency, which has this healing and kind of magical effect on the body. Can you share anything on that and about, you know, these incredible little creatures?
Yeah, so when you're around them, they align your body, and with the frequency they release in when they're vibrating their wings, and it really does give a calming effect, I reckon, out of everything, and just sort of has a rushing effect. And whenever you're stressed and you go down there, it sort of takes it off you, and just you're there because you know that they could sting you as well, but they're not going to. They're very harmless. They're very beautiful, innocent creatures.
Face recognition.
Yeah,
they do know.
Really?
They do. They know their owners. We know of so many people that walk through their hives or deal with their hives and not even have to worry about wearing protective gear, because they know that, you know, the bees know them. It's really amazing.
Incredible.
They make beds where they have the hives underneath them, and then you go and lay on top of them. This is in Europe somewhere, and we've seen that the therapeutic benefits of laying on beehives and just the vibration and that is just amazing for your body. So they literally have bee beds that you can lay on.
That, and also even being stung is also really beneficial for your body. It's good for arthritis and stuff like that.
No way. I never knew that. I was, but I'm not surprised to hear that they give off some sort of incredible frequency. Like everything that they do, they actually bring life to all these living things. And then honey is just such a delicacy as well. You know, like they're an incredible creature.
Yeah.
It must have been truly heartbreaking for you to see the hives destroyed. You watched the whole thing, yeah?
Yeah. So, well, by the 7th hive, we were pretty exhausted while watching it, and sixth hive,
Yeah,
we were pretty exhausted and emotionally drained. So we had to go up. They had to stay down to make sure that, you know, they weren't going anywhere and weren't dodging around on the property. But yeah, it was devastating. And the sound you heard from them when they poured 250 milliliters of petrol to they say euthanize, but it's kill the hive. Then, you know, it is traumatizing, and I can imagine the people that have 100 hives and had to hear that and see that.
the noise that came out of those boxes were just horrendous. It was like, because they blocked the bottom off, so they couldn't come out. And then when they poured the petrol in there, it was just like thousands and thousands of bees trying to swarm out of there, and the noise was just, it was horrendous. Like,
you know, something, these innocent bees that have done nothing wrong, they're only just doing good, and they're uninfected.
They're uninfected. They have no stupid mite.
Yeah, and by a mite, that's every country lives with as well, that they're doing this over.
Oh my gosh! And they're using a camp, and then they obviously the fipronil is banned in all these other countries, but so they actually come along and they tip 250. They tip a quarter of a liter of fuel.
Yeah, so they put a little
jiffy pad, it's like a jiffy pad,
or sponge, something that absorbs it, and they pour it over that, and they just go open it, pour it out. You see some bees try and fly out and escape, and then they shut it back down on them, and then they wrap it up, and then you hear them when as soon as it's poured in, they're off their head trying to escape. Some escape, and then are just left around. And once they're packaged up or the hives are taken away, you can see the amount of bees that were left behind that are just going to fly around till starvation, and then they drop out the sky in death. Because once you take a bee's hive away, they fly around, they have GPS location, they have nothing else to do.
So anything that was left out bees can't fly at night, so they'll go out, and when they are left out, when it gets dark, they'll find themselves a flower or somewhere to sleep for the night. So when they came back in the morning, there was hundreds of bees still displaced because their home was gone. So, and they had no queen. So they've all come back. There's hundreds of them come back from their trip out the day before. And yeah, they're all displaced.
It's just horrifying.
It is.
It's horrifyingly cruel and unnecessary and dark. And I can just see the comments coming in from people like, you would have to be, these people have sold their souls. I'm sorry. Like, it's just cruel. It's so heartless.
Yeah.
And it's just something that is continuing in this country across so many different industries. Oh gosh, guys. We're going to start wrapping up the call, but let's try and finish on a positive note because you guys are doing incredible work. There's a lot of good people on here who are going to share this far and wide as well, and we'll get this out to as many people as we possibly can. But where to from here? What else can we do?
MPs, write to your local MPs,
And
complain. That's it. That's like literally it. We just want
your banners, and that complain. I wasn't going to say it, but may as well. We're looking at doing in the next couple of weeks a car drive from the bottom of these red zones to the top with banners all over the cars. So we're going to release some more information on that within this week. So hopefully everyone can join on with their banners and just come up through the red zones. Be about
do a bit of a
5.5
rally
hour
drive.
Rally
Yeah,
drive.
I'd be well up for that. I would definitely come down for that. Make a weekend of it, go camping, go on tour around the area.
Yeah,
Maybe we could all drop some flyers around to everyone because this is a huge deal. This is one of the biggest stories,
Nobody knows what's going on. And James has spoken out, and then all of a sudden he's gone viral, and people are like, what's going on? What's going on? And it's like, this has been going on for 10 months. This is not new. So, yeah.
And then the DPI's best response to that was to use my face in a PowerPoint presentation and with a government logo and misinformation written on top. No, nothing about what my misinformation is about, just my face in general. But
that's what they do, man. That's what they do. They do. You know what, James? I just want to pay tribute to you, mate. You've done an incredible job, and you have some incredible courage. And I believe that you've been guided to do this. You're here for this purpose, and you're going to be looked after. This is definitely a battle between good and evil, and you're on the right side. And I just want to thank you on behalf of everyone for having such incredible courage. And I want to thank your mum, Andrea, for doing such a great job, raising such an amazing son.
We've always told our kids that, stand up for what's right and tell the truth. And everything else will fall in behind that. So he's a stubborn mule, and
bring the dark to the light.
Yep.
Don't let that. You don't want it brewing, and you want to bring it right up to the light and let God's glory shine on it.
Yeah, well said. Beautifully said, guys. Well, we just want to thank you once again. We will all jump on your Instagram, and anything that needs to be shared, please let me know. I'll get it on my Telegram. I'll get it on my Facebook as well. I'll get this recording out as far and as wide as possible. Thank you. Let's talk more about doing some T-shirts. We can help with some funding. We can dedicate all the profits from those shirts to helping raise more awareness. Happy to do something like that. I kind of like the one, stop the DPI, save the bees, something like that. It sounds like a good one.
Or the DPI, you had a good one before. We were thinking of a shirt idea with the bees integrated into it.
Yeah. We've got it's on the menu. We actually had somebody with decals for the cars contact us. Like literally, I was talking today, and I think we need to do some car decals, just for window stickers and things like that. And the universe popped somebody into my DMs today, and they got tagged. And basically now we're hooked up with somebody who's going to do some car decals. So we'll do the no food, no bees, and save the bees. Sorry, no bees, no food, and save the bees stickers. So we'll probably promote some of that online, and we'll be able to get some of those out as well.
Yeah, well done. Look, anything I can do to help, please let me know. We have an awesome community who are right behind you. And just keep up the good work. Remember, don't feed the trolls, because the trolls will come out every now and then. And just thanks again, guys. We'll stay in touch and never surrender.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And all of our guests here tonight, we really appreciate you. If you haven't already, please join Oneegs.com, and we'll be catching up with James and Andrew again real soon. Over and out, guys. See you soon.
All right.
So,
Good night, guys.